If you're not experiencing deep, personal, internal freedom and joy and love inside, it's because there's something blocking it. And I want to talk today in part 4 of our series on what is spirituality about what is the third thing that's blocking us. We've been talking over the last 3 weeks about the 3 things that are the other 2 things that are blocking us from connecting to the love, the peace, and the joy of God within us. That wisdom that flows freely, the freedom that flows freely, the peace and the joy that we want to experience. And if you haven't already seen those, the first block was our limiting beliefs, the things that keep us stuck in limitation and lack. The second block was our attachments, the things outside of us that we attach to grab onto, to try to find a sense of happiness, but really we're missing what's already inside of us, and it ends up in more pain. So go back and watch 1, 2, and 3 parts of the series on YouTube or in my feed on social media. And let's talk today, though, about that third block. The third block to us experiencing the freedom, the joy, and the peace inside, and the love inside, is our painful, traumatic experiences in life. They impact us greatly. And when we have painful, traumatic experiences, no matter if they're tiny little experiences, whatever, they impact us and they create fragmentation in our heart. When we experience the pain of any kind of trauma, we protect ourselves from feeling the pain by disconnecting from those fragmented, painful parts of ourselves. But when we do that, we show up as a half-hearted person, as a fragmented person. It's our way of surviving. You know, it's like you hurt your leg, you cut off your leg. You shut off parts of your heart. But what you don't realize is that you're shutting off some amazing parts of you that don't allow you to live in thriving, but keep you in survival. So when we protect ourselves from pain or from what feels like a possible threat from some trauma that we've experienced, whether it's little or big, we cut ourselves off from connection to ourselves, to God in us, and to love, peace, and joy inside. There's a cost when we're in protection, when we're in self-protection and survival. There's a cost to that. In each moment, we can choose to self-protect or we can choose to connect. But we can't do both. With ourselves, with someone else, and with God, and the connection and the self-protection that I'm talking about. So when we're disconnecting from ourselves, we're disconnecting from others too, because we're only connected to part of ourselves. Yes. And we can only give what we're in touch with. So think about how that's affecting you as a leader of your family, in your business, in your relationships, or just as a person in general in your life. It's the same thing as with our attachments, which we talked about last week. We can't be attached to something or someone outside of us and be truly connected inside. We can't try to gain a sense of peace or happiness or be fully connected to God's joy and peace and wisdom and love inside when we're disconnected from ourselves because we're attached to something outside. And I'm not saying we're connected. We can't connect to things outside. There's a difference in our connections and our attachments. So go back and watch that video. We can't continue patterns of thinking that are based in lies and limitation and ever experience the fullness of being connected deeply to the joy, the peace, and the love within us. It just doesn't work that way. We can't have both. We're either going to live in the survival perspective and the lack and the limitation, or we're going to connect deeply and authentically to the things of the Spirit in us and live in the truth and connect with the love of God within us. But when we're hindered by those blockages, we can't do that. It doesn't work that way. When love and joy isn't flowing freely within us, I said this at the beginning, it's because there's blocked energy inside of us that isn't allowing it to flow freely. It's not going on outside of us, it's going on inside of us. And that's why it's so important to clear these internal blockages so that we can access everything that God has created us for. But when we're attached to something else, we're believing a lie, or we're choosing self-protection because we don't want to deal with some pain or painful or threatening experience, then we can't be in connection, and this energy inside of us can't flow. We can't be connected to the Spirit. But when we clear those blockages, there's a river of love and joy that flows within us and from us. and that love, peace, and joy are our natural state. They are available to us in every moment. It's God's Spirit in us. His wisdom's also available to us. So that's the other thing that we cut off, is we cut off hearing from him. We cut off being in true alignment with our authentic self. So aren't you tired of your beliefs and your attachments and the self-protection that you learned to try to maintain, to try to protect yourself and staying in survival, to just protect yourself from the pain that you don't want to feel and the fear that you don't want to feel, but actually it's blocking the natural state of the flow of God's love, peace, and joy, and the freedom that's available to you within you? What traumatic and painful experiences are you still in self-protection over and living in survival around? Because that's keeping you stuck in every area of your life until you deal with it. God's whole, perfect, freely flowing love is waiting for you to connect with it, to embrace it, to invite it in, to receive it, and to let it flow freely within you and from you. We want to get away from our feelings of pain and loss and grief and trauma. Of course we do. You know, that they hurt. But spirituality doesn't teach us how to get away from things. It's an invitation to surrender those things to the one who can heal them, instead of trying to cope with them or manage them or avoid them or distract from them. And then they end up, it's kind of like walking with an injury in your leg all of your life. What if you could really get it healed? It's about swimming into the cave of what's really going on and really feeling it and letting it heal and doing the work in there to clear it out and letting God in those places so that he can heal it, and getting new perspective on it and learning how to get free from it, rather than just settling for the counterfeit safety that perpetuates more pain, more fear, and more threat, and that continues to disconnect us from our own hearts and from God's heart and from others' hearts. The enemy offers us counterfeit safety. He says, here, you don't have to feel this. You can attach to something outside of you. You can just stay busy and distract from it. You can stay in self-protection and control this. But God offers us the real thing. He wants true freedom and healing for us. And the spiritual path, our healing path, our path to wholeness, to wholeheartedness, to showing up, to true freedom, to joy and peace, to everything that he created us for, is to soften into what we don't want to deal with or feel. And that takes courage, but that's the secret. And the good news is we don't have to do it alone. That's where professionals know exactly how to take you through there to get to get exactly what you need to heal it, to get you back to better than ever. And the most beautiful gift in it all is that God does personally meet us there, and he takes our pain, and he takes the bondage of our attachments, and he removes those, and he doesn't remove us from our connections. He deepens our connections, but he takes us away from the bondage of our attachments. And he frees us from the burden of our lies and replaces them with his new life, his new truth, love we could never imagine, peace we could never imagine, joy we could never even begin to fathom. And if you're ready to learn how to recognize and clear your blocks so that you can experience the fullness and the freedom of your natural state, so you can live and lead and enjoy life and enjoy building what he's put in you to its fullest, the deep, intimate connection, the wisdom of God, and have that free flowing within you, then I'd love to guide you to that. Doesn't that sound wonderful? Well, it's your reality, and it is your natural state, and it's your birthright, your inheritance. So stop settling for surviving and self-protection and limitation, and click that button below, and let's get real freedom, real joy, and real peace. And we can get it, and you'll never have to look back, and you'll never have to limp on that bad leg again. Click that button below.